Well, hello, gamers. I'm Big D, and welcome to Taco Tuesday, where we talk about all things Warhammer, all things wargaming, and whatever else comes up. What a week! Wow. So what's on the table? More more Imperial Guard. More Imperial Guard. Why? Because I'm just trying to get through my backlog. I've got my main army done. Now I'm getting through the guys that are painted like Tallarn, my Tallarn Guard, and trying to get through them just so I can get through my backlog. That's pretty much it. That's pretty much what's going on. So how we all doing tonight? Why yourself, Mr. Fish, and hello, Tina. Good to see you both. Yeah, we're just painting away. I've got a bunch of the Space Nom guys that I've started with, blocking in our base colors. They're gonna be different colors than my Tallarn guys. I've got one squad of the Tallarn done. I got a few more prepped and ready to go. I eventually am going to have to get to my Rogel Dorn. I'm done with one of my Iron Company. I don't know if I showed this off last week, but recently finished off one of my Iron Company. This is like one of my 1995 Lehman Russes, the all-metal turret, because it's got the Demolisher cannon on it. I love the way this thing looks. This thing is just brutal. I wish there was an easier way other than printing to get more dozer blades, especially now that dozer blades are free. Like, I'm going to probably see if I can get my printer up and going and print like a dozen of them and just magnetize them onto all of my tanks, just because the dozer blade looks so mean on the front there. So that's what's up. What's going on the past week? Well, I got a game of Age of Sigmar in place with the wonderful Ben Garskio. Thank you, Ben. I appreciate the game. Found out my Ogors. It's funny. Like, my Ogors consist of a 1/2 of a flesh and bone box twice. So it's 2 flesh and bone boxes and then 1 of the Vanguard boxes. That's pretty much it, my main list, because nothing else is ready to go. And yet somehow that's a meta list. Like, apparently that's what a lot of people are running right now and is really strong. And I ate a lot of elves. Nom, nom, nom. Ogres are pretty cool. They lay out a lot of mortal wounds, which is a lot of fun. And they've got a lot of wounds themselves. I mean, 4 wounds a model in a 6 model battle line. I mean, most battle lines, you give them 10 wounds, they're done. In my group, you give them 10 wounds, you got rid of 2 guys. That's it. So, they are hearty. They're very hearty. I like that. But I definitely, I've got my my big beasts. I gotta get painting on them soon eventually. Actually, when I'm done with the guard, I'm going to finish up all the terrain I've got in the house. I want to get all the terrain done. Like, that's the next thing. I want to finish up all the guard and then jump on all the terrain and just get every last stick of terrain in this house painted and detailed, and some of it that's supposed to go out the door. It's tough trying to stay focused. And so I'm finding that if I stick to one army and just pound out the army when it comes to painting, it goes pretty quickly. So that is the goal at the moment. That may change. My life is subject to change. Once again, I'm loving some of these Vallejo, these Panzer Ace colors. They have what's called the German Tickner, but it's basically black, but it's a very grayish black. So if you thin it and don't do a second layer over a white, you get a very deep gray with black in the recesses. Really nice paint. I mean, you guys know I love the layout to begin with. I think I found my new favorite color of theirs, which is this canvas. I need to go find a couple other bottles of this because it's become a mainstay color for like all of my Talon. And then because again, I'm painting all these earth tone guys, I'm using flat earth. I'm using yellow ochre, and actually I'm using a couple bottles I've got left of XV88, which is again pretty much like a lighter version of the flat earth color. I like it. It's a very warmish brown. The armor you can see is that color, and the under armor is that canvas color. It ends up just making a very warm, very earth tone figure, which I dig. But that's that. That's what's going on. That's what's on the table. And that's what I'm thinking about painting wise. What's going on in the world of Warhammer right now? Brief talk. Kill Team. Kill Team is exploding. Oh my gosh! Like there's like all the Into the Dark guys are finally getting released separately. So finally, people can get the car skins that they've been dying to play 40K, and they're going to be like $60 a box. People are like, but I mean they're good. They're good in 40K. So you're going to see those come flying out the shelves really quickly. I'm already hearing people all over like, oh, I got to get 2 boxes. I got to get 3 boxes. Everybody I know wants to get like 2-3 boxes. They're not even those that play Kill Team. I was going to print mine, but I don't know. Working in a gaming store has some perks. So I'm thinking about getting 2 boxes, but not right off the bat. I don't know. We'll see. We'll see how quickly they fly off the shelves. If they go on the shelf and they immediately all get snapped, I will definitely immediately return right back around and order 2 boxes for myself. But Kill Team is getting like a huge push. There's a new set coming out with Drukari versus the Adeptus, or no, not Adeptus, whatever, the RBDs, Space Cops. Or if you look at the figures, Leather Daddies with angry toys. I kind of hate how they look. No, I don't even kind of hate. I hate the way they look. I think they look way too over the top. I don't like them. I'm sorry, I don't like them. I think they're ridiculous. And that's the beautiful thing about Warhammer. Like there's something in there for everybody. I look at them and all I see is martial law. If you don't know what martial law was, it was a comic book back in the 80s that was a American satire of a satire comic, because it was basically you had Judge Dredd, and this was Americans making a satire of Judge Dredd, which was a satire of American politics and gun policies. Martial law was a satire of Judge Dredd, but added in the extra boost that he was in a superhero world. So he was a cop in a superhero world with superpowers that dressed like an Arbides does. And there was a lot of satire jokes in there about the whole sexual repressive nature of superheroes and the whole concept of costumes and tight leather and tight spandex and masks. And it was, as a teenager, I loved it. As I got a little older, I'm like, I like the concept, but this guy got onto something and was just like, yeah, this guy's got some repressed issues, and so he formed them all in this comic. And the problem is they all look like him and his squad. So, I mean, they look like a cross between, bondage daddies and cops. And it's just kind of like, okay. Sometimes I think too many details. Like, I like figures to have details on them. I like figures to have personality. In my opinion, and again, it's my opinion. If you love them, you love them, and that's cool. In my opinion, they're just like, they're too over the top for me. I want to get some of the terrain because I really like the Gallodark terrain. It really does. It says a lot about Mr. Skynox. We know what he's all about, though. I mean, the flip side is Lady D loves the Drukari. I think that says a lot about her. So it's surprising. Like, a lot of people think, oh, it's Drukari versus bondage cops. Oh, and it's just like, it's almost like overt to me. And it's like, I think the bigger issue I have, honestly, it's not even so much the models. I think the bigger issue is that we've got 2 Kroot teams now, right? We got 2 full Kroot teams. We've got a Tau Pathfinder team. This is the first Elven team. No, because we have the Elven Ranger team. So we've got the Elves and now the Drukari. I guess they finally have gotten everybody. I don't know. I mean, there's just so many new human factions they're coming out with. It's like, okay, I like the idea of new models, but I mean, I guess they really are trying to stand Kill Team up as its own thing. And they do have the bestest boy. Yeah, the Gellerpox are great. Like, I love the Gellerpox. I have a copy of them when they first came out. I actually bought them off Ben. It's just kind of funny. Like, I like where Kill Team is going. I like Kill Team. I like playing Kill Team. It's a fun game. It's just weird that they've come up with all these new factions that all kind of fit into the game, but it's like, what are they? They're taking Kill Team and making less of a gateway game and making its own thing. And I don't know if that's good or bad. I think it's good, but you're just going to make people buy more models. But now the word is that because the Arbites would basically be the troops for the Inquisition, you could run an Inquisition army now because you can have the Arbites as your troop slot. You can use commissars and inquisitors as your HQ slots. You could potentially end up using scions as either elites or troops. You could use the Ogrins and Bulgrins in your elite slot. I don't know. It's kind of just like, what are they making here? Are they making an army for them? Are we actually going to see? Well, but that's the whole thing. I mean, the Arbites really, they work for the Inquisitors. So I think this is the closest we're going to get to an Inquisitor squad. I don't know, although they did just reproduce all those different commissars, and there was a couple weeks earlier, they just did a reprint of all the Inquisitors. I think we're going to see a bigger Inquisitor. I don't think we're going to see a Codex drop, but I think we're going to at least see something come out in, say, a White Dwarf, so people could actually field an honest-to-goodness Inquisition list. Like, if you make your Inquisitor your Warlord, you can bring in your Sisters of Battle and some Grey Knights and some Death Watch and some Arbites, and it's all one list. Which would make sense since they're all arms of the Inquisition. I don't know. Lore gets real weird because the Inquisition kind of has their fingers in everybody's pie. but I think it could be fun. I just don't think it makes sense for why the Arbites are digging around in a space Hulk. Those are the last dudes. Nobody's going to be within the law in a freaking space Hulk. That is where there's like the least place where there's like the place where they have the least amount of jurisdiction. I can see why the space freak elves are in there because hey, there might be 10 million-year-old drugs in here where we can get high on. There might be some residue of some dead thing that we can snort. I really think they should have made, I don't know, if they're going to do Inquisition in this one, I think they should have done a Death Watch kill team to go in there, or maybe they haven't done a Mechanicus, and there could be Lost Tech in there, so they could have totally done a Mechanicus, have a techno-archaeologist leading a group of Skitarii in there, or some Electro Priests or something. That would have made sense. And I also think it's funny if you look at the Arabides and you compare them to the Arbides-like cops from Kill Team. I mean, the guys from Kill Team that are like Arbides related, I forget what they're called. But they just look like we're dudes in armor, we're cops. And these guys are like, oh, yes. Oh, be naughty for me, baby. Be naughty. I'm going to teach you the meaning of corporal punishment. I can't look at those figures seriously. I'm just like, oh my God, what the hell are these things? And it's not that I don't appreciate them, but I'm just like, oh my God. They make me think of the days that Daemonettes had titties hanging out. You know, that's what they make me think of. Because I'd love to see them against a team of Daemonettes, just like, oh, Queen. No, you didn't. So I don't know. But the terrain looks tight. Looks like they're adding in some new rules and some new expansion stuffs with that. And at the same time, they're releasing all the existing teams now and some new terrain kits for it. And the special edition terrain kits that were in the other box sets, since those other box kits were like available for like a week before they sold out. So that'll be fine. That'll be just fine. Meanwhile, because of all this hype that Kill Team is getting, it completely gets glossed over that both the Gloomspire Gits and Beastmen got an all new release this week. Like all their stuff came out, all new packages. And it doesn't. There's like I think there's only like one new model though. Like the Beastmen got like the Beast Lord or like one of their HQs got a new figure. And that's it. It's all old figures, no new figures. But they both got their codexes this week. So yeah, I mean the Gits got their codex. I mean, you're looking at it now in Age of Sigmar. Who's not been done yet? He Knights still need their codex badly. I mean, they're the only ones in Chaos. Oh, and Khorne. So yeah, the Khornates and the Slaanesh in Chaos need theirs. Destruction. There's not many to Destruction, but now with the Gits getting theirs, everybody in Destruction got their codexes now. One of the Vamps, I thought, got their codex already. I thought one of them did. But the Bone Boys in Death, I know they need their codex really bad. The Bone Boys need theirs. In order, I think the gold boys, the big the dwarven gold boys need theirs. And cities, which they've been talking about, which is supposed to be the big point of this thing, I think they're finally slated. We've been seeing some art for them. They're gonna get like a stupidly big release. I'm betting they're getting like a massive box set and upgrades and all kinds of crazy shit. Okay, they were just before. Okay. So yeah, okay. So the vampires need theirs, which is just, which is just so weird because when they released Curse City, which was at the beginning of third, they released all those new figures. Like they just a plethora of new figures for the vampires, and they didn't get their codex then, which is crazy. So Orders needs to give their mechanical, the Caradon Overlords, that's them. They need to give the Caradon Overlords and the Cities of Sigmar, they need their new codexes. But I think everybody else has got theirs in order now, which for some of those factions is just like, what is the point? Like, I feel bad for anybody that likes the Fire Slayers because the figures look great, but they literally have 5 units. That's it. 5 units. That's all there is. You can build one of them in one of 2 ways to get you a 6th unit, and then you can build like the big monster beast in one of like 3 ways, and 3 gives you 3 different things. So I mean, I guess there's like 8 kits, but I mean, there's 8 different units, but there's like 5 kits. That's it. Oh yeah, Seraphon. I forgot. They're getting a lot of coverage too. So they're getting a bunch of their stuff that because their stuff is one of the older lines. Like they've got still a lot of resin units in their line because they were like one of the last factions just before Age of Sigmar to get a bunch of stuff added. So they got a lot of resin kits. And yeah, I mean the Seraphon kits look really cool. Like if I didn't already have like a complete Seraphon army in STL format that doesn't look like GWs but still looks really cool, I'd be really excited for it. I bought a couple of GW models that I thought were top-notch models because eventually I want to do a Seraphon army, but they're one of those armies that I'm going to be doing way down the line. They're nowhere near. They're so far off in the distance. They're not even in the list. They just exist at this point. But the Seraphon do look really cool. I want to thank Antonio because he showed me how cool Seraphon can be. So he played him a couple different ways, and I really liked it. And they weren't just the same old way I've seen everybody else play them, which is just the blowgun dudes, which I hated. Seeing 30-man blobs of blowgun dudes just completely obliterate a unit. Oh, who cares? And I paid like 8 points for that whole unit because they're next to nothing. Yeah. Lady D is going to be doing gets. She loves squigs. She thinks they're the best. So she's actually got like 2 or 3 like bigger boxes. Like I think she's got like a Christmas box and like a start collecting box, maybe even 2 start collecting boxes. And I want to get her the other Christmas box I saw because it's got 2 giant mangler squigs in it, and I thought that was hilarious. So because she's all about the squigs. She doesn't really care about if the army's good or not. She just wants to put as many colorful squigs on the table. And she was talking about like painting them like in different colors, like Amazonian poison tree dart frogs or something like that. She has been talking all kinds of crazy stuff the way she wants to paint her squigs when she actually finally gets to it. We'll see how that goes. You're doing the same thing, but with spiders. Yeah. I can see it. She hates spiders. She absolutely hates spiders. So You can have all the spiders. If we get kits that have both spiders and squigs in them, we'll trade you. We'll give you our spiders and you give us your squigs. I have never seen anybody hate, straight up hate. Here's your one. Spiders as much as she does. I don't get it. Spiders are cute and fuzzy. They look delicious. They are delicious, actually. I've eaten tarantula before, and let me tell you, it was delicious. So what else was going on? I guess in personal news, I traded off a bunch of my AdMech. Because I don't know when I'm going to actually get around to finishing them or painting them. And Skynox won an amazingly painted Space Wolf army, painted by Greg from Tundra Tactics, Greg Olson of Tundra Tactics, who is just an unbelievable painter. And so getting a chance to actually have a 2,000 point army painted by a pro painter to add to my collection of my wolves Jeff Hill. I'm sorry, Jeff. Why did I say Jeff Olson? Who the hell is Jeff Olson? I don't know. Jeff Hill. And there's still a little bit of work I've got to do on them. I've got to do a bunch of decal work on them, but that's not a big deal at all. I don't mind decal work. I might redo some of the basing, just so they fit in with my army. I'm not going to rebase them all, but I think maybe swapping out, because he put these really colorful tufts on them. I think I might pull the tufts off and put more of a wintry type tuft on them, and then spread a little bit of snow around on them, but leave the essence of the figures. The paint job he did on them is gorgeous. I absolutely love them. A lot of the weapons that have glow, like the power weapons and whatnot, have this really deep blackish purple OSL to them that I really adore. So I think it's a great army. I think it'll go great with the rest of my wolves, and I'm happy with it. And it takes some painting projects off my shelf and gets some models out of my house and puts them in the hands of somebody who's going to actually play them. So, Knox, I wish you best of luck with them. The couple games I play with them, I absolutely destroyed on them. So, I think they'll be just fine. Yeah, I think they'll do just perfectly fine. But I'll be interested to watch, because you and I had to talk about it, and you and I have some very different ideas on how to play them. So I'll be interested to see how you do with them. Back to the hobby. Big thing right now, like I said, is I'm trying to paint these. I want to get through all my terrain. I think before I jump to the terrain, I think I'm gonna jump to all the terrain next, and then after the terrain, I think the next critical thing after the terrain is I want to finish getting my Ogors painted. Luckily, I have them all mostly built. I have a few new ones to build, but they're mostly built. And then everything I've got built, I immediately, like the instant I got them built, I went and primed them right away. I gotta say, I'm finding the slap chop approach to painting is really nice. Like, even if I don't use all the same methodology, I think the mentality speaks wonders. And if you're not familiar with what I'm talking about, the whole slap chop mentality is that you get a zenithal prime on there, and then you go in with some transparent colors, your 2 coats, but maybe only a 1 coat, or maybe using contrast or using inks and shades, and you get your base colors established. And you get all your base colors established, and then play with them. And that way you don't really need to go nuts to get a battle ready. So you can play with your figures, so you're not worried about, I'm playing with gray plastic. You're actually playing with painted figures. And then you can go back like 1 unit at a time as you feel the motivation. And you go back and you do your detail work. You do your highlighting, and you do your low lighting. You do your additional layers of shading. You maybe go in and pick out some details and add in some more colors. But you do it on models that are already battle ready, so that you're not feeling like you're under pressure. And you can just do 1 unit at a time, bringing them from battle ready to parade ready. And I think that's absolutely brilliant. And I really dig the idea. So like, I'm doing that with this guard. Like, got a real mess on the bottom here. There we go. Yeah, exactly, Todd. That is exactly what I'm talking about. Painting stops being a chore. You just take the mentality, get a good enough paint job on them that you can play them, and then after they're there, then when you don't have other things pressing, then yeah, you take a figure or you take a unit and you give it the extra attention you want to give it, but you're not under any pressure, because you can still pick the model up and go, oh yeah, it's ready to play. I can pick it up and play with it right now, no problem, because it's done. It's just not more done. And that's the beauty of that concept. I think some people, they look at like a huge painting project or a new army, and they love the idea of it, and then they put all that plastic together and they just look at it and go, oh my God, what am I doing? I can't do this. And I think that's why you get to see so many brand new armies that are some assembled, some NIB, 1 unit primed on eBay. Like, you find a lot of lots. Like, you find a lot of lots like that. I mean, that's absolutely it, Tina. It's like, look, I need to be able to play with these figures. Do I want to make them look great? Yeah, absolutely. Do I need to make them look like they're top-notch figures, like they're showpiece figures, before I can even put them anywhere near a table? No, not at all. You can put them on the table right off the bat, and then not feel bad because, hey, they already look good. They're painted rather than just being, gray plastic. But then you can go back as needed and apply more and more. And the thing is, you can keep going back. Hey, I want to add some more to this. Well, I'm going to go back and do it again. I want to add some more of this. You can go back and do it again. I want to add some more of this. You can go back and do it again. And you can keep just adding layers of highlights and layers of OSL or layers of shading. And you can do whatever you want and just keep going back to it and keep going back to it and keep going back to it until you're where you want to be with that army. but you're not under any, under any crazy obligation to be non-painted. And, oh, I gotta, and yet you're not doing the thing that I've seen other people talk about, which really, to me, is kind of gross. I've seen a couple of people talking about it lately. They're just like, well, okay, like I saw a D&D game where if you have a character and you have a figure that matches your character, you get some extra XP or some extra bonus or something. And if it's painted, you get to add some more extra benefits on. Well, the idea is to paint the character figure so it looks good. But that wasn't specified. So they were talking about, yes, just, prime it and dunk it in paint and you're done. And you get that extra benefit of your character. And, like, that's, like, against the whole spirit of what you're supposed to be doing here. And I don't know. I'm the first to admit that I understand that painting can be, at times, seem non-motivational or seem overwhelming. I'm the first to admit it. But I'm also the first to admit that you just got to find a way to power through it, because I hate to say it, it's part of the hobby. And there's no way of getting out of it. Unless you are one of these magical people that has all the disposable income in the world to pay people to paint your figures. And you know what? I don't fault the people that do that. I used to kind of, I'll admit, I used to kind of think like, oh, that's kind of cheap, isn't it? I'm the first to admit I used to think that way about people. And then I thought, you know what? That's not very fair of me. Because one, there are people, and I didn't get it, but again, it's not me, so I don't need to get it. There are people who have real anxiety about painting figures. Like literally panic attack level anxiety about painting figures. Because, I don't want to mess this figure up. I don't want to ruin this. I'm gonna do bad at this. I'm no good at this. I hate this. It's a thing. And you know what? It's not my place to tell somebody what they can or cannot spend their money on. If it's worth more to them to spend their time doing other stuff and paying someone else to build and or paint their miniatures, hey, you're playing the game. Okay, cool. I used to think it was you had to be in all the hobby and not just the section. And then I got into the flip side of it because I met somebody that has never played Warhammer, doesn't really get the lore, doesn't dig the lore at all, just thinks it's kind of stupid and silly, but loves figure painting. And so they almost always go with GW figures because they love the looks. Okay, well, I mean, I don't get that. I'm like, if I'm going to paint a figure, I'm going to play a figure. No, I have no interest in playing. I just want to paint. Okay. I mean, if you're a dude who plays and doesn't like painting and you meet a girl that loves painting but doesn't want to play, you got a marriage made in heaven right there. Get her, put a ring on that finger and make her yours now. But then again, I'm also the guy that's like, if you like an army, get it. I don't care if you have 6 other armies. You like that 7th army, get that 7th army. So, Tina, you don't let Ben make you get rid of your armies. You play all your girls. You do what you do you, Tina. You play all the armies. All the armies. I understand unwavering devotion to a single army. I have it. But I also have devotion to many armies. I'm weird that way. Like, I love my Space Wolves. I will never give up playing Space Wolves. I will never give up building and collecting and painting more Space Wolves. Even when I have all the figures, I will get more and I will make more. And there will always be more I want to do. I can think off the top of my head, there's 4 figures I don't have that I want. And I'm going to get them. And I will get them and I will build them and I will paint them and I will love it. I'll probably never play any of them because they're not very good models. But they're Space Wolf models, so I must have them. I'm kind of that way with the guard. Where is he? Where is he? I don't know that I will ever play this model. I do not think it is a good use of points, at least in this edition of the game. In this edition of the game, I do not think this is a good model. But I'm glad I have it, because it's a model I didn't have beforehand, and now I do. And I like the way it looks. It's neat. I love the paint job on it. I love the silly, gigantic mortar cannons. It's a silly vehicle, and I love it. And it's mine, and I will keep it for my army. I was trying to work it into lists. Why? Because I can. Because it'd be fun. It'd be silly. It is what it is. Do I need as many Lehman Russes as I have? No. Do I need as many Chimeras as I have? No. Would I get rid of any of them? No. No. Do I need all the guardsmen I have? No. Not at all. Not in the least. Would I get rid of them? No. Not in a heartbeat. Not in a heartbeat. I must have them all. Am I eventually going to get more guardsmen? Yep. I see that happening. I definitely see that happening. Will I get more out of print stuff? Oh, you bet. You bet. Like, if I can find more actual Talon Desert Raiders here, we're going to get more. We're going to get more. I have 2 boxes. 2? 1 or 2. Actual boxes of Talon Raiders. We're going to get more. I want to have more Talon Raiders. I want to have the actual Talons. Why? Because I do. Because they're what I dig. It's funny. I hear all these people in their love of the Krieg. I've never seen a Krieg army on the table. I've never seen an actual Krieg army on the table. Closest I've seen is one used in Kill Team. I've never seen a Krieg army on the table. But I hear people talk about their love of the Krieg army, and I go, I get it. I don't like them. But I don't have to. They're not mine. Mine are Talon. I like Talon. I like Talon a lot. I like the whole concept of Talon. We're going to go now. I love them. I like the Catechins. I think they're hilarious. They're Space Rambo. I love Space Rambo. Who doesn't love Space Rambo? Even though they've only got a couple of units left. I really want to go hunting and scouring and see if I can find one of those Catachin command boxes. One of those, the Catachin command squad box. I want to see if I can find one. Just one. Just so I have a Catachin command squad. Because I'm building a Talon command squad that doesn't actually use any Talon figures. But I've got Talon regular in the lead. I've got a Cadian command squad. I want to use some extra bits, and I think I'm going to convert some of my squats into a squat command squad. Just because I can. I'm going to probably get a couple more packs of squats. You're like, why would you be using squats? Because that's what I use to use Krieger rules. This is a squat tank. My squats are my black company. Charcoal, gray, black, and red, and white. And that's their colors. And that's what they're going to use. There's going to be a bunch of them. And I've got one big box of squats and a couple small boxes of squats. I'm going to get more. And I'm going to print some. I honestly think once I get to see the base size on the new Talon, the new Adelan Riders, the Adelan Raiders, Rough Riders, words, my guys. I'm going to take my old Adelan and I'm going to put them on the new bases. And I think that I'm going to print out my dwarf trikes, my squat trikes. And I'm going to print lances. And I'm going to put the guy that's in the sidecar that's got a gun, I'm going to put him with a lance in the sidecar. And I'm going to run squat Rough Riders. Because it would be hilarious. I think it'd be fun. And that's the thing. That's what I love about it. That's what I love about the Guard. Like, I know a guy that has a Mordian army. He has, like, according to him, and he doesn't have any painted. He's got it all in the original boxes. He's never gotten around to painting it. And now he wants to talk to me about commissioning me to paint it. And I'm like, no, I do not want to do an army of angry postmen. But he's talking about paying me a lot of money to paint his angry postman. So probably, and it won't be, he said it won't be anytime, at least until after the summer. But I may be painting a large Mordian army. And he's got all the Mordian specialty kits. So he's got a Mordian command squad, and he's got, like, I think he said 10 squads of Mordian troopers, plus 2 or 3 boxes of Mordian heavy weapons teams. And that's what he wants to get done. And then he may get some of the new Guard stuff and have me paint it in the Mordian colors, which is gray and black and yellow. They have the yellow pinstripe on a lot of their stuff. We'll see how that goes. But I think it's hilarious. Like, everybody that gets into Guard, there is some aspect of Guard that appeals to them, and it's all for different reasons. I mean, I like the Cadians fine enough because, I mean, the Cadians remind me of my time in the Army. But I love the Talon because they're just like, go now. And I remember seeing during 8th, there was a hilarious Talon list that I wanted to play so badly that had 8 Chimeras in it. Because in 8th, Talon had the ability that, and then it's now called mechanized, where they can move and then unload. Talon had that ability. So they were literally first turn advancing those across the board, and then second turn moving and unload, and just putting 80 bodies in the middle of the back end of the board. Hey, what do you do about that? And then they're just running those Chimeras around, blasting away with the las gun that's on them, or the heavy bolt, or whatever gun they were running on them. Silly stuff. Very silly stuff. So I think, every army has something that it brings to the table when it comes to the Guard, and I love the Guard. And that's kind of why I'm really looking forward to when they bring out Cities of Sigmar for Age of Sigmar. My God, I mean, the Cities of Sigmar, if you're not familiar, Cities of Sigmar is basically the normal dudes faction for Age of Sigmar. It's the normal dwarves, the normal elves, and the normal humans. All the armies that were kind of lost to time. They were survived by hiding in the cities. So you're going to have like Kislevs in there, and the Anvil Guard are in there, and regular normal elves, not these super magical or super woodsy or super underwatery, but just, hi, we're elves. Yay, elven archers or dudes. They're all in those armies, and it'll be interesting to see, because like I said, they're doing a lot of work on them. We've seen a lot of concept art. They were supposedly, when I keep going back to this, when they talked about third edition and they were hyping it, the whole idea was the edition was supposed to be, the order at least, was supposed to be centric around the cities. And we've got almost everybody out, and the cities don't even have their books yet. And we've been running around Gur for almost a year now. Okay. What is the narrative here? I don't even know. Like, there's supposed to be a narrative in Age of Sigmar. I have no idea what it is. At this point, I just know my ogres are hungry and we want to eat elves. Or anyone else that gets in their way. We just happen to eat elves last, and they were tasty. Let's go find some more elves to eat. I love ogres. They're so simple. Everything is either eat or be eaten. They have two statuses in their army when they fight. They're either hungry, which makes them move faster so they can get to their food, or they're eating, which gives them higher morale because I've got food, I'm happy. I think that's just so dumb and fun at the same time. Milwaukee Anime was this past weekend. The Plague Child we built some cosplay props using some of my terrain knowledge and foam knowledge and their ability to do makeup. So they built some hands that are on like socketed things. Some character from, I think, My Hero Academia. He has hands of his dead family members that sit on him, and they played that. But my child turned 20 last week. Plague Child is now 20. I can't really call them the child anymore, can I? They're 20. I'm not taking this well. I recognize this. My older two children are in their 20s. My youngest is turning 19 in a month. I'm not taking this well. It's unacceptable. I refuse. It is unacceptable. You need to stop, Ben. I will stab you in the eye with a shrimp fork. But I wouldn't lie. There are not days I don't feel like I'm in my 70s. Like today, running around, lugging projectors, lugging Chromebooks, trying to paint, trying to do work, lugging around my cripple of a life. I like that this year is not a rounding year. I'm closer to a normal year than an upper year. So, been doing a lot of talk about Gen X. It's funny when you talk about it because, you know, it's interesting the perspective differences. Looking at certain things that I used to be very passionate about, and now I'm like, I don't give a shit. I don't give a shit. When I'm like, oh man, you need to paint your own figures. I don't give a shit. I don't care if you paint them. Whatever. Paint your figures. Oh, I'm gonna jump army to army to army. Ah, you're a meta chaser. I don't care. Play your figures. If you want to play that army, play that damn army. Just paint your damn figures or pay someone to paint your figures. Stop playing with gray plastic. It's weird. I find I have less tolerance for intolerance and more tolerance for not giving a shit. I don't care. Just move on. All right. So what's coming up? We already know what is on pre-order. We don't know what's on pre-order. We know what just came out. So what's on pre-order? What is on pre-order this week? I was just looking at it right now. What is actually on pre-order this week? Oh yeah, World Eaters. I gotta go with Ben on this one. And this is gonna get me some hate. But who gives a shit? I mean, you ordered the rulebook for the Middle Earth SPG. SPG. Is that the GW Middle Earth game? Interesting. I watched a game of it being played. Right after you and I played Age of Sigmar. I have a definite opinion about it. Yeah, I don't give a shit. I'm getting Conquest. Oh, there you go. That is the other big thing. I am getting a new game, a non-GW game, and it will see probably some significant coverage here because the figures are gorgeous. There's a game called Conquest. I don't even know who the maker is. But we saw the game played and it looked great. It looked easy to play, and the miniatures are fabulous. And there's a brand new starter box coming out for it that's got these Greek soldiers, and it's got these got a Greek army and a Norse army. And as soon as Commodore saw it, he's like, dude, there's Greek army, I gotta get it. Wait a minute, the other side's Norse. You want to split it with me? Sure. Let's split a box. So Parabellum Games. All right. So if you're not familiar with it, go look at Parabellum Games. Look up Conquest. The game is fabulous. The figures are fabulous. The game is very easy playing. I'm getting into it. I'm getting the Norse army. I know Ben has a couple, or at least one army. He's got the Undead Romans. I know he has that one. The Undead Romans. And Tina's gonna be getting the dwarves. Cool. I think there's a lot of capabilities for this game. Like I said, I think it looks It looks cool. It looks to be not as munchy, if that's a word you can understand. It's not as munchy as, say, Age of Sigmar or 40K is, but the games look good, and it's neat because, like, the rules and the base core rules and everything is online on the website here at Parabellum. And there's expansions and all that stuff's on here too. There's all kinds of PDFs and stuff on here for. And then the game itself, they've got two versions. They've got a regular game, and then they've got a skirmish version of the game called First Blood. They've got an army builder built right into their website to make it easy to build an army. I don't know. I think it looks really good. I remember just looking at the figures and watching the game demo and being really impressed at the game. The figures are absolutely fabulous. So, as soon, and it's a newer game, it's been around for a couple of years at this point. So as soon as I get my half the box, we'll get them up here and kind of unbox it, show it off, and see what it's all about. And we'll get a deeper look at that army and at that game. It really does, though. If you look at the art gallery, just the fact that they've got a lot of built into the world for a new game. They've got this whole living world and living campaign built into it, and a lot of really solid lore and solid storytelling. I think that's my biggest problem with Age of Sigmar, because the story really seems like an afterthought to what the game is actually about. And I kind of like fantasy to be more narrative. I just didn't like I'll be honest, I didn't like the Middle Earth, the Lord of the Rings war game. I didn't like it because the rules were much too much like 7th, which is a lot like a Horus Heresy, which is a lot of throwing dice and nothing happens. I like Rank and Flank. I enjoy Song of Fire and Ice, and I think I'm going to enjoy this. I'm not sure. I don't know off the top of my head if this is Rank and Flank as well. But it's just the figures look so good. The figures look really good, and there's just some cool stuff going on here. I think this is going to be. Looking at some of these figures, they just look so nice. We're going to have some fun with this. I think this will be something we're going to play a lot around our group. I thought Thousand Kingdoms was the undead Romans. Who's the undead? I don't know. Yeah, Art, you really should check it out. It looks like it's fun. It is. Yeah, it is a rank and flank. That's what I'm going to think I liked about it. And it's your way to everyone's. I remember that now. It's so neat. And like I said, it's an interesting and neat game. It should be really fun. It's a lot of fun to play. Get a starter army and you're good to go. That's the other thing. It's not a big investment. I've thought about getting into the Star Wars game, and I'm just not into it. I'm just not into it. I like my sci-fi. I like 40K. I really do like 40K. But fantasy, I like dabbling more. Like I like Age of Sigmar a lot. But this looks cool too. And Warcry looks cool. And it's not 40K. It's not Age of Sigmar. It's its own little game. And I dig that. So, I want to get more of that done too. I don't know why I'm losing steam tonight, guys. I mean, I got a lot of things talking about. We're got good, but I am losing steam here. And I am a winking and a blinking. It says to me, I think I'm going to be pumpkining really quickly here. So before I do that, I want to give a big shout out to a bunch of people. I'm not leaving yet. But I want to make sure that I do give a big shout out to those patrons of mine that do take care of me and take care of me as well as they do. Because I do love y'all. Y'all are great. You're wonderful. And I wanna give you the love that I promised you. So let's go out here. We got in our Battle Brother tier. We have Battle Brother Zane. We have Tina Karaskio. We have Minnie Wormut. We have James Brown. And we got my brother Alex Drake. I thank the five of you so much. Buck a month. Buck a month ain't much, but I appreciate it. I really do. Next up, we got our $3 a month Battle Brother, our Battle Leaders. We got Joe Bookish. We got, let's see here. Had a couple, we got we have Ben Carrasquillo, my buddy, Big Ben. Appreciate you, Ben. And then we have Mithros Kushran of the Black Rose Dragon Knight out of Frost and Fizz. Thank you so much. And then lastly, we have our two Warlord tier patrons. We have, of course, the Pirate Phoenix, my lovely niece, and her husband, normally watching us from high above. We have the Commodore. I'm going to hopefully have some more Instagram content this week. I want to get some of these figures that I've finished painting. I want to get some good shots of them, get them out onto the web so y'all can see what I've been hard at work at. Having the second job does make it a little tougher to get some videos in otherwise. So we might try and do another live stream like later in the week, or Thursday. I'm going to be actually getting a game of 40K in. We might check in from there and do a quick F-it while we're playing, just to talk about the game and talk about what's going on in the wild world of competitive 40K. There is a tournament here in town at Warpstorm. I believe they are full up. 20 and 20 slots going on this weekend. Now, this weekend also, the March Warpstorm Tour will open up. I will be setting up for that one, so my next time playing in a competitive tournament will be about mid-March. So we'll keep you abreast of how that's going. I'll be playing guard. I haven't decided on my final list yet, but I've got some ideas. It involves a lot of tanks. I love tanks. So that being said, I think we've heard everything we want to talk about. Like I said, I want to talk more about more diverse gaming. I want to talk about more smaller games. I also want to talk about more than just 40K, which is why we talk a lot more about Age of Sigmar. And we're not really talking about the World Leaders because I don't like them. I love the look. Don't get me wrong. I love the look of the World Leaders. But God, could I not care less about their stuff's coming out, because I just don't think they're a very well thought out army. I think they're based on it's Angron and a bunch of guys around him, and I don't think it's going to be a very fun army to play, to be honest. I think some people might enjoy that, but I don't see them being a very well-rounded army, and I don't think they're going to do very well. Every battle report I've seen so far, they've gotten just smashed. So, you don't want an army to have to win all the time, but you don't want to lose all the time either. So that being said, I'm Big D. I'm Big D, Gamecraft Dragon. I love all of you. I want to thank you all for showing up for me tonight. I appreciate y'all. If you give me that thumbs up, I'd appreciate it. And we will see you real soon here next time on Taco Tuesday. I'm Big D, and game on. I can figure out which eye I'm looking out of tonight. This is how I know I'm tired.